telling us about yourself and what's your tech stack and how long you've been a developer.
All right. I'm Badru Olumide David by name, and
Okay.
okay. Should I say I studied management accounting in school. Actually, I used to be a science student.
Wow.
Actually, yeah, I used to be a science student. I graduated, I think, 10, 10 years ago from Loud Tech, Oyo
Okay.
State, and I was a science. The only science course that I felt I could do was computer. Nothing engineering or chemistry looked like it was going to enter my head, so I kept applying for computers. And then, as Nigerian education system would have it, I found myself studying management accounting in a technology school actually.
Wow.
So it was heartbreaking. I had to go through, and so I mean, no regret at the long run. It was beautiful learning something out of science,
Science.
still being a science student. So it made me more vast in knowledge. And after school, I think I didn't do much in that field. I I probably just noticed I had a flair for teaching. But nobody wants to be a teacher in Nigeria, definitely, because you know what teacher how rich teachers could be in Nigeria. So
Yeah.
I by 2017, by 2018, I was kind of out of the workspace. I'd not started tech then. I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do exactly. So I went into ministry actually. I used to be a minister of the gospel. So I went into ministry full time and since 2018 till for years. So by 2021, when Nigeria started smiling, and then because of my kind of person, everybody likes a good life. I used to be like, I don't want to ever be one of those ministers that would, ministers, many ministers are always broke. I'm like, no, not in my generation. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke because I'm a religious leader or something.
Yeah.
I could still I know I'm smart, I know I'm intelligent. I don't have to sit here in the church and just living life like that. So I was thinking of what to do. I tried one or two things. By 2021, my dad actually suggested programming to me, and it was like a no-no. So
Wow.
like,
Like
they don't know. And
this is one of the rare situation where parents suggest programming. It's out of the context of what parent tells you to go for when it comes to career paths. Say doctor,
honestly,
but programming that's very nice of your dad to do then.
exactly. And at this point, I was over 30 already. So
Wow.
it felt like, I mean, where do I want to start from at this point? I mean, programming. And what motivated him was he saw the current financial situation, and then he had
Okay.
somebody in their neighborhood that was a friend to my younger ones. He's somebody very popular on LinkedIn. He's a senior developer current today. This guy was, as at then, I was about 30. This guy was probably in his maybe like 21 or thereabouts. It's like 10 years younger than me. This guy had already had a breakthrough. He started as a teenager. After secondary school, he didn't go to university. He went for
Yes.
it, and he was just very lucky. He got an international job, and by 21, he was already a millionaire. So
Wow.
my daddy saw his story motivating, and my daddy was like, okay. He tried to hook me up, and for the first 1 year, in fact, this guy was willing to, very young guy, very nice guy. He bought my first course. I was not interested. For 1 year, I was like, I was not really serious. I was like, I beg, which one is programming? From where to where? Coding. I only hear it. I never imagined myself doing it. So after 1 year, by 2022, and now when the economy became harder, I realized that the way life is going, I mean, the future. I think I need to, like, look for something that is promising in the nearest future, something that I know that in the next 10 years, yeah, and I don't get to be sad. I can't be fired, or I can still be productive in the next 20 years, 30 years, and all
Yeah.
of that. So I let me give this thing a try. So I started then with so I went back to meet the same guy. He now bought a new course again for me. Very nice
Wow.
mentor. Bought a new course for me again then, and then I started from HTML. He bought a complete, developer course, front end and back end. So it was overwhelming actually. I started learning. It took my time, and because I was working full time, as a pastor there, it was
Yeah.
quite, managing my time was difficult, but I was still like learning
Putting
slowly.
into
I focused on front end, and I got the point. I mastered aesthetics so much. Like my CSS skills was top notch.
wow.
I was not rushing anywhere. I was just like I was just having fun. And
Yeah.
back then, what they told us was that once you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript,
You
you're
get
a
a
front end
job.
developer, you get a job.
You get a job. that has been a big lie in the tech space, that HTML,
I
CSS,
mean,
JavaScript
and
gets you a job.
JavaScript. So while I was already JavaScript, I was already hearing of React. I'm like, which one is React? So it was like I realized that every job I saw on LinkedIn compulsory required that React. So
React.
it was like it was compulsory. So I was like, oh, so I have to learn React again. No problem. I had to learn version control along the way, learn a little of Node, NPM and all of that. I learned version control, Git, and then I dived into React. And then I learned, and it has just been a whole lot all the way. So currently, I'm a front end developer with I also call myself a baby backend developer because the goal is to be a full stack developer.
Developer.
This my mentor is currently a full stack developer actually. So but I think I spent too much time on front end thinking that I just needed to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So by the
Yeah.
time I was going to awaken to the reality, I realized I've spent 2 years just learning, aesthetics, how to design, how to use CSS skillfully. When I should focus on when I should have focused on back end languages. So I'm a front end developer. I know a little back end. I'm still learning, hoping to learn, but the time
Yes.
to learn has not really been there.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little introduction. That's a not little. That's a big introduction about.
Of yourself. That's very wonderful. And we come to realize a lot of us, when we get to a certain age gap, or when we feel like, oh, this thing is too much for me to comprehend, we immediately just draw out and like, no, 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 maybe this is not, what where I'm supposed to be. Maybe this is just too much for me to like stomach. So over the years of experience of you dabbling into, from your ministries, from that religious perspective where pastors, it's hard for you to see a pastor that's going into tech or working. When you go for ministries, you see them. I'm just like fully devoted to ministries. No second option. So you like breaking that edge, that because you are going into ministries does not mean you should not find way for you to make financial income from yourself, and like for you to grow yourself. That's a very, very key mindset. So over the years of experience, what is one thing that has shaping your decision making skills that have made you keep going?
Okay, should I say I think financial hardship. I mean I like a good life and I like to look good and the kind of life I dream of. I realize that I need to really not just be an when you come from a family whereby the successful ones are like okay average. I mean they are okay, they have a house. I just wanted something far more than that. And I was currently swimming in financial hardship and the more the financial hardship actually the more I wanted to like so it was like okay it's either I mean I it was tiring. It got to the point I could there was time I was somewhere in southwest that place where I was pastoring that period there was no NEPA light and my laptop
Wow.
battery was not good and I needed to work. I needed to like do little jobs I found and my laptop was not good and I could not afford to spend all my life of savings on fuel. At
Bro.
that point it was my younger dad I was just funding my fueling week in week out for like months, almost a year. Then it was,
Damn.
I mean, it was. I had friends that would be like that. I had some friends that were also in the same journey that they got tired. But I always tell them that for me, it's like it's if I get tired and I quit, then that means I've surrendered to suffer for life. So inside this suffering, let me just also so that I won't have to continue suffering. So it's either you quit, you give up now, or you make it later. So I think the current financial challenges was like okay that was what was motivating me to just keep going. And I think that's just basically that's been basically it. And I didn't have currently I think as a DCA I dive from just not just front end development now to I started a coding academy. I'm just starting, it's like a startup coding academy
Okay.
and I'm currently building it up. Because I realized that actually teaching, like I said initially, I realized many years ago that I kind of like teaching mathematics.
Teaching.
Then getting into ministry, one thing I loved doing most was teaching the word. So I realized that I had this passion for teaching. So like I was able to find my purpose in tech, basically not just running the way everybody is running, trying to get a job with
A
one international
job.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like okay, I think teaching. I love teaching. I was able to infuse teaching into tech. So I have this knowledge like you said, it's so bright. Even when you've known so many languages, you
There's
still
still
apply for
some
jobs they will ask for.
there's still so
It's
many
like you don't
other
know
things.
anything.
Yes.
That there are things you still don't know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, even what I know, I mean, I know so much that I could actually make something out of it. I feel like, okay, I'm currently a freelancer. I get little gigs here and there, build this website, build that website. I take them, but I've not really gotten a full time company
Full
job.
time
I've worked with a
company.
company as a volunteer, so I feel like, okay, instead of waiting for that dream UK or US job where they will pay you £2,000 or $3,500, why not let me start something that in the long run can even grow bigger than that salary I'm dreaming
I'm
about?
dreaming
So I
about.
feel like let me put my passion of teaching into my already acquired skills, and I that's why I started the idea. And
Wow.
interestingly, from there, I found myself also transiting into data analytics. Something happened this year also that made me transit. So I combine data analytics to computer programming skills, and I think I've focused more in this year on trying to build my my coding academy, my startup coding academy.
That's good. That's a very, very wonderful point in that, because most of us, as you said, a lot of developers out there like, I just need that. I need that tech money. I need that UK. I need that UK contract. I need the US contract. But before that contract is coming, how are you scaling yourself towards improving
So,
yourself? You know, one point in time I met this a startup founder then in an event I went to, and actually a he was actually in the UK, but like a Nigerian UK founder. He was trying to do something about football, and he approached me and we got talking, and he was like, come and work for me. And at that point in time, I was taken aback because I'm like, you have not even seen my CV, you haven't seen my portfolio. Just from us talking, you already feel, oh, I can work with this person. So it's more about how well you build yourself. Because when you build yourself to the standard where you want to be, anybody from afar will be able to see, oh, this person has potential. So when they're coming with you, they're coming with you with an interest, like, let me work with you because your potential, it's seen, like your light is bright, and working with you, they in fact they start recommending you to other jobs because they see like, oh, you are so dive in into what you're doing. And teaching is one of the best process of learning, because if you can teach something, that means you know it. I always
you
see a
know
lot
it.
of people, sometimes they know the basis and they go into teaching, and at the end of the day, I'm like, you didn't go deeper into this, because if you went deeper into this, you'll have taught better than you did
More.
then, and you'll have outgrown yourself. You know, you will have outgrown that person that was teaching that course at the beginning, because you have learned new things, you have improved. So what was, based on how far you have gone in tech now, what is one advice that you will have given your younger self? Would you have told your younger self to go into tech earlier, or to have dive into the experience, or would you have still stayed away and said, okay, I will have maybe go into teaching and go into maybe full-time teaching job instead of just diving into tech?
Well, if I would basically like the if I could rewind time, like I've always told myself that would have been to start tech far early. So yeah, it's that would have been it, because the mentor I talked about is 10 years younger. He started
Wow.
in his like around started learning 17, 18, 19, got his first job 19, one small gig, and then by 21 he got his first international job, and now he's a big boy in Lagos, and he's a senior developer. So I spoke with him January this year, and we're talking about the challenges, and the challenges of how, like, because of the age I am in, like responsibilities is more on me. Like I need to do so many things. I don't have so much
Yeah.
patience to say, okay, I want to wait. Now he was telling me like, okay, I should probably like I should learn more of my back end. I'm like, okay, after all these years, like when I want to make this money, when will I start making money? You see, at this age, in my mid 30s, that I want to now start learning. But when will I even now get a job and start making money? So I think that was the regret. Like, so when I see people that want to start it, I'm like, if you like yourself, just start early, because you are not in a rush. You can take your time to learn and master it. You're not rushing. You can take your time to master each of those languages, even if it's going to take you 5 years. By the time you are done learning, you are probably like just maybe in your mid 20s or thereabouts. So I think that was one thing I could advise myself. That's one thing I would advise myself. So basically, it was because of the age that I had to. If I had time, I probably wouldn't have thought of going into teaching like that. Actually, I probably would have okay
Okay.
taken time, focus on learning
Learning
more
more.
tech skills and positioning myself out there and getting that fantasized dream job that we all talk about from UK or US.
Yeah.
I would have probably done that. But it was like, okay, I felt like, okay, I have to think now. I don't have that time again. I didn't start early. I started over 30. So I can't do this. Because I actually started teaching, I attended teaching 2 years ago. And I did it for a while. I stopped because I feel like no, that I mean, there was nothing pursuing me then. And why did I start? You mentioned something. You said talking about some people learning the basics and not learning mastering it well.
Yeah.
So the way I learned, most of what I've learned from have been like whites, from I've learned from instructors abroad. So my first Nigerian instructor, I will not mention his name. I met him. He was going to teach React. So I was like, oh, I've been longing to learn this React. Let me even learn. Let
Yeah.
me see what I can learn from him. So he said I have to pay. I have to join. I have to start from HTML. I'm like, boss, I don't. I've already learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I only need you. I said that's that the syllabus is starting from HTML. So I said, okay, let me just join. No matter is it's pride to feel I've known
Right.
it all. No matter what I might learn something from is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But when this guy started HTML and CSS, I realized that me that I came as a student when he was done with CSS. I was something just I was like, no, this is not it. I was now beating all the other students like, so this is what this guy is going to teach these people. This is not anything. So I just feel like even I can even do better than this now. Me that I'm a student, I can do
I
better than my this
imagine.
Nigerian instructor. So I was like, I beg, it's easy to record video. I just started recording videos. That's how so I started, I taught some people, I mean, hundreds of students then. I made some
Wow.
money, quite over half a million then from teaching. But because I still feel like there was still time now. I mean, I'm not, I want my dream job. So I kind of didn't pursue
Yeah.
the vision back until this year when I felt like, okay, no more time. I beg, I can't keep on waiting for dream job. Now, after learning everything, they are telling me to go and learn back end again. For how long? That's when I had to. So I think it was more about timing. The earlier the better. That's what I would say. Start early. It's
Thank you
it's it's
so
it's
much.
better.
Thank you very much. This session has been very, very interactive because I've learned from you. I've learned that whatever you're doing, don't think you have the time. Don't think, oh, I have the luxury of time. You don't have the luxury of time. So just start it. It's the starting that matters, not how well you start or how good the foundation is. But at least when you start on it, you can always build on what you have. So to round up this section, we're going to ask you what your advice for somebody coming into front end, coming into tech, or even someone diving already in tech and try diving off. Oh, let me start teaching this my knowledge. What's your advice for them?
Okay, my advice for someone coming into tech, whether front end, I would say first of all, discover what you really want. There are like different parts of tech. First of all, ensure that where you are is where you really have strong passion for. So if don't come into front end development, if you don't, you are not a fan of designs, aesthetics. I was first a graphic designer before I came into front end, and my mentor had to explain to me so that I would not make the same mistake. So that's one of the advice I'll give. Make sure you find yourself in a tech part where you kind of have passion for. If it's going to be cloud computing, if it's backend, if it is cyber security, data analytics, data science, make sure you find what and then also um diligence, like what's the word? Yeah, spending more time on practice. You start learning and then just HTML. You're spending 3 months to learn HTML. Because when you want graduate, when you want reach React, I
Yeah.
gave my brother HTML course to learn. He learned it 2 weeks. That's how that's what I call seriousness. So
Yes.
you give some students to buy, some students you buy a pre-recorded course and just ordinary HTML, they are still on it on 3 months. You will not make much progress that way because before you're even done with the HTML, you've forgotten the beginning of the HTML. By the time you're getting to the end, by the time you're getting to CSS, you're forgetting HTML. But and then not just so the thing is like consistency in practice. Do it diligently because one thing about coding again is I don't know whether it's only me, but you see, if I leave React for 2 months and I go and teach data analytics somewhere for 2 months. When I'm done teaching, when I come back to React, I'm almost forgetting how to create a Vite app. Just
That's
normal.
true.
You're trying to like remember. It takes you like maybe like 1 2 days to remember all the simple things, or you have to like just ask ChatGPT for the very simple basic things, and it's like
Yeah.
that. So I don't know. So
it,
once
it,
you
it,
start it,
it actually happened to
consistency.
me too. If I leave something and I dive into something else, going back there is like it's all an alien that wrote all those code, even my own code. I'm struggling. So I learned to like use comments. I learned to see the value of these documentations all these guys usually talk about, because if I had a
Okay.
proper documentation, I can like, oh, this was what I was trying to achieve here. So most of the time, if you're learning something, your consistency, your perseverance needs matters a lot.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having this section with us, and thank you for sharing your experience, because a lot of people coming in will be like H factor. They'll say, oh, it's tech, it's for science people. I don't have a mentor. I'm not a science student. So this series, this tech gist with IJ, the whole story behind it was that at a point in time when I started learning, I didn't have somebody to guide me, and I didn't even know which one should I go. I don't even know what I have a passion for. So I spent almost a year plus learning JavaScript, because I believe I needed to know everything in JavaScript to know how JavaScript works. So I just kept staying there. I would do this, but I feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. And one person once told me, build something. And I said, how can I build when I have not even, like, I don't even have all these things grounded together. So when I started building with JavaScript, that's actually when I started learning JavaScript. Because what I was doing
Yeah.
before was like cramming the whole syntax, cramming the whole structure, cramming everything, and try to like tomorrow I'll go and like, A is this in JavaScript. No, I can't remember again. I'll go back and cram, and and time keeps going. So it's this series. I'm just trying to help somebody out there that is still going through that phase, or somebody else coming into tech and start thinking, oh, I want to be a mobile developer, but I don't know any mobile developer. So we did an interview, we did a section, one time with a mobile developer. We have done with a product designer. We have lines of other series coming in with different people from different tech space, from different tech background, having different journey or different aspect of how they came into tech. I'm even going to dive deeper from tech to customer support to any kind of skills, because I believe every skills, everything you need to do, you need a guideline. So if you see
Yeah.
someone saying their experience, it is a lot that makes you not to make some mistake you could have made, because you don't have to remake. Somebody doesn't have to make the same mistake, David, you made in your tech journey. So having this section with you would prevent someone from making that mistake. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.